Hey everyone, welcome to our channel, and returning viewers, welcome back. Today we have an interesting episode. We are going to be trying to get into a very old mushroom patch of ours. This patch we're going to today was sort of our main patch when I was younger. Unfortunately, about 80% of the patch was logged about 15 years ago, and we haven't really gone back since. We're gonna see if we can get in there and just see what's going on. Okay, so we're way up here in these misty mountains now. Haven't been up here in probably close to 15 years. And it's bringing up some emotions because it's quite a nostalgic area for us to come back to. We would spend a lot of time here. This patch we're gonna try to get to, or what's left of it, was our pinnacle patch. It was the best we ever had. Really our goal today is a couple of things. One, we want to pick some mushrooms, but also we want to see how the pine mushroom mycelium is regenerated. Has it crept into the areas that were logged 15 years ago? Has it died back in the areas that weren't logged? We just want to see what's going on.
I've never seen this creek dry before.
We're gonna get wet today. All right, so this here, what we're walking into now, this used to be patch right away. So this is a Douglas fir tree that used to be in our patch here. We're trying to get up into these misty trees. Beautiful Douglas fir trees. So up there on the top was the best, one of the better areas. It's gone. Randy started harvesting this patch in early 90s, and he harvested it until it was logged about 15 years ago. Went from hero to zero. This was all incredible right through here. Every one of these trees was a host for the pine mushroom mycelium. Not a whole lot of regrowth for here. There is a very strong possibility that it just hasn't started here yet. We think we should come back here in a couple of weeks if we're able to. We're wet! We're wetter than this creek bed. So here's another piece of our old patch. This was all patch, but there is a strip left, and this was one of the better parts. I'm gonna try to get up here. There's the truck down there. I just walked up that. We call this part of the patch the canyon. And that's why there's a big ravine canyon thing here. Give it a couple weeks and then check again. Let's walk down this hill and then drive down this mountain. Red huckleberries. High elevation red huckleberries in October.
If you look carefully, you can see the odd tree that stands taller than the rest of the surrounding forest. These are the remaining old growth trees, meaning they have never been logged. It was in the first growth where we would find pine mushrooms, but so far we have not seen any signs that they are still growing in this patch right now.
We're gonna start with just our buckets until we see what's going on and then go from there. So this was all patch, but this little band along the waterway in the riparian zone was left intact. This tree here was a major producer of buttons back in the day. Douglas fir. A mid-October blue huckleberry. Looks very similar to a blueberry, but is a lot more tart. Blue huckleberry. No pine mushrooms yet, and we've walked through what used to be a good area. So you'd have a big Douglas fir tree like used to be here, and then you'd have this thick layer of forest floor duff like this. Thick layer. Hundreds of years of built up mass, and that's what the mycelium was thriving in. A lot of the time it was out of this stuff, not right out of the moss in this patch. See this? This tree, when it was cut, did what's called barber chairing, when the fiber rips up the stump because the notch wasn't cut on this tree here. Looks like they tried to feller buncher that tree and it was just a little too big. I thought that was mist down there in the valley, but when we drove through it, it's actually smoke from burning the slash piles. So no signs of pine mushrooms, no deer chew, no pieces, no picking holes, nothing. We'll move on to the next spot. Here's another plant we've done lots of harvesting of over the years. This specimen's just finishing flowering right now, the little yellow flowers. And this is St. John's wort. Lots of medicinal properties. We make a tincture out of it, and it's a great plant. You can see there's plants all over here. Just jumped up above the road here, and this is forest that was logged much longer ago, just above where the patch used to be. This forest is starting to look a little bit older and like it could host pine mushrooms in the next decade if we're lucky.
So we're actually standing on the edge of the patch right here.
So this bit of a hill going that way, and then there's this hill going this way. There's sort of a dip down in here, and we used to pick both sides of this little ravine where the creek runs down there, and it came all the way up right to right around here. This is where the bigger trees used to stop. So it's very disorienting.
But they're all died.
Yeah, these ones didn't survive because this edge got too hot. So these all died here because of the heat.
Imagine your brother and I, David, we had more than one time where the two of us took off over 500 pounds of buttons in this little dip right here. And we had the dirt bike where the truck is.
Yeah.
And so every time we filled them, we'd go in there just down the hill.
Yeah.
With like 3 buckets. By the time I would just run down to the river, which would take 5 minutes on the bike, 10 minutes, I'd come back, he'd have 3 more full baskets, so we'd switch up all day long doing that.
Yeah, that's how you do it. Look at the size of this Douglas fir stump. Big notch. And then the felling cut went past the hinge. Look at that. And there's a Dutchman going on. We're almost at the waterfall. We didn't make it up this high last time. Oh, there's some nice trees still. Oh, there it is. Been a long time since I've seen that site. Nearly half my life. We're gonna try to get down here if we can. This was it, like this was one of the main parts of the patch down here. And it's this gorgeous waterfall coming into this ravine, and it would just shower the area in a, you know, a mist.
I'd say because of the topography, that if there was going to be any mushrooms anywhere, it would be in here because of the moisture from that.
Yeah.
It's a strange feeling to walk here and see no signs of pine mushrooms, with our memories of just how prolific this patch used to be.
Look at that.
Incredible breeze coming off of this waterfall here. You're hit with this wave of wet air that comes up through this whole grove of trees here. Both the creeks meet right here, put into one creek. There is enough, there's quite a few trees left along this creek, along this edge, and this section here used to be a very good part of the patch. And there's no mushrooms, so it probably is just a bad season. Didn't get much summer rain, and the moss really dried out. Took a long time to become saturated, and that has a real effect on how early the mushrooms will flush. So if it flushes up here this year, it'll probably be too close to freeze up to get much of a season. Before we head down the mountain today, we want to just do a couple little spot checks, and then we're going to head to a chanterelle patch down the road that we think there's still a pretty large section of forest there, so have a better chance of finding something.
We plan to return here over the next couple of seasons to better determine the health of the mycelium. If it is still active, then even with only 10% of the trees remaining, it could still be worth harvesting during a good season. Sorry that there's no harvesting in today's episode, but hopefully you enjoyed it anyways. If you did, consider subscribing to our YouTube or check us out on Shopify. Thanks for watching.